Okay. So, this is lecture number 13 on finite volume series. So, what we will continue here where we left in the last lecture on the discretization of the diffusion system. So, if you come back or recall from your previous lecture, this is exactly where we stopped our previous calculations or the equation derivation. And what this provides? This provides the steady state diffusion equation discretized system. And just to begin with, if you recall from the notation and all this that we have sort of just come back to this particular figure and we will recap this. So, we had a 2D uniform structured domain or Cartesian domain that we have discretized like here, which is shown here, and for this 2D structured domain we are interested on a particular cell sitting inside or one interior cell, and the one interior cell which would be concentrated on. So, the cell that we are interested is, this is the pattern of the discretization. So, this is the interior cell C and uniform grid. So, this is the delta y which is uniform, this is the delta x which is also uniform. Ahead of it the element is E, behind that element W, top of that north, and underneath of that is south. So, these are the surrounding elements which are sitting alongside that particular element, and we have this uniform derivation or the distances. So, 2D uniform Cartesian system. So, this is where we started, and the governing equation that we are discretizing is the steady state diffusion system with source term. So, that essentially our system, and the other notation that we have used so far is that this is the east face, north face, west face, south face, and once we do that we got our all the vectors. If you, so this is how, this is the system that we actually started to discretize, that is our governing equations, where the diffusion flux is gamma delta phi, and after doing the algebraic calculations or the volume integration over that particular cell, we end up getting this algebraic system. Once we expand that, we get a equation like this. So, it goes over all the faces surrounding that element C. So, that means element C having 4 faces, east, west, north, south, and we write down or expand that discretized equation in this fashion. Then we found out all our surface vector or surface normal vector. Since it is a 2D Cartesian system, it was quite straightforward to estimate those, and the way it has been estimated, you can see AC was delta yi, Sn was delta xn j. So, it is a surface vector. So, you can assume that this is the length multiplied with the unity distance along the out of plane component. So, that is how you get all these surface vector or the vector notation of these things. Once you obtain that, then for each faces like east, west, north, south, we have got this discretized system. And once we get the discretized system, we assumed this is a linear variation for phi between points CE or waste. So, once we have done the linear variation, that slope will give that profile of that. From there we have calculated each of these coefficient for the total flux definition with the linear variation. And once we obtain that, and we have defined one more parameter, that D, capital D, for each phases these are defined as E W west north, and the definition lies here. This is D west, this is D east, this is D n, and this is D s. All being done, we have put all these system in this expanded equation and then finally obtain this algebraic system, algebraic equation. So, what we have done so far, we have considered one 2D Cartesian grid, and we have considered one interior element inside that 2D Cartesian grid, and discretized the steady state heat transfer equation or the diffusion equation, and obtained this algebraic system, where all these coefficients are, see, phi c, E, W, N, S, they belong to the variable pertaining to the each cell, like phi c belongs to the element C, phi E represents the variable in element E, phi S for S element, phi N corresponds to N element, phi W corresponds to waste element, and the associated coefficients are A C, E, W, and how they are obtained. If you write A E is essentially your flux F E, and that is minus gamma E d E. And what is d E? d E is where d E is A C by d C E. Okay. Similarly, you have a waste which is flux F W, which is minus gamma W d W, and d W is S W by distance of C W. A N, which is flux F N, which is nothing but gamma N d N, where d N is S N by d C N, and finally a S, which is the south flux F S, which is minus gamma d S, where d S is S S by d, and A C, which is the flux F E, flux C E plus flux C W plus flux C N plus flux C S, which is nothing but with negative sign summation of A E, A W, A N, A S. So, A C actually is the sum of all the individual component with the negative sign, and the other. So, in this particular equation you got all coefficients A C, A E, A W, A N, A S, and only thing which is left over is the source term or right hand side vector term BC. So, BC is QCVC minus all your flux VE plus flux VW plus flux Vn plus flux Vs. And since all these fluxes for this particular case, all these terms are lead to 0, this will remain as QC BC. Okay. So, but one can carry these terms and then finally put the values, but this is a for the present case these are 0, and when you do not have these fluxes, this coefficient of the fluxes are non-zero, then they will contribute to this right hand side vector. So, if we write that equation in more compact form, so in compact form if you write, that will look like an AC phi c plus summation of f, which will go from all the faces AF phi f equals to BC, and what AF stands for? AF stands for flux F F, which is minus gamma F D F. Okay. So, where small f is east, west, north, south. That is how they AC is summation of small f goes from this flux CF, and BC, that would be QC BC minus summation of small f flux BF. So, if you see, this can be, and capital F essentially capital E, capital West, north, south stand for, and small f is the phase. So, these are the cell or elements, these are corresponding phases. So, the capital F and small f, they correspond to two different things. So, please note that they are not same, one correspond to the cell, other one to the phase. Now, you can, once you obtain this, you actually get the algebraic system, like this kind of system. These are the algebraic system which can be now converted to linear system. That means we can write that Ax equals to B in this form, and once you write in Ax equals to B form, you use your linear solver to get the solution. Now, some notes or comments on this discretization. The comment is that if you have carried out proper discretization, it will basically provide you the discretized So, the discretization method must return or provide you back the discretized algebraic equation. So, the proper discretization method should return you back the discretized algebraic equation, which this particular equation, this must reflect or represent the characteristics of the original governing equation, the nature or characteristics of original governing equations. Okay. So, how would one satisfy that? This could be satisfied with the properties that we have already discussed couple of lectures back, that the discretized system must possess certain properties. Through those properties only these important things must be retained, and so once that is done, then whatever physical system you are dealing with, theoretically the governing equations are actually the representation of my physical problem. So, the physical problem that you are dealing with, which is somehow represented with series of partial differential equations, they are discretized to get the algebraic equation which should reflect or represent the characteristics. Okay. Now, once we say that note, then we can move to look at some other information, like one of the thing is that sum rule, or called zero sum rule. Okay. So, what does it say? It says that one of the major approximation, what was the major approximation in our discretized system? So, the approximation was, or assumption, whatever one can say, was the assumption of linear variation of phi, or the profile of phi. That means, from one cell to another cell the variation was linear. So, this is one of the major assumption or approximation that we have invoked so far. Okay. So, this could be a question that when we have assumed the linear variation, why not higher order variation or higher order profile variation? So, that could be a pertinent question to answer, that we amongst the cell or the neighboring cells. So, we have assumed the linear variation. So, instead of that, if we assume a higher order variation, how would that affect? Now, to answer that, let us consider one 1D system with no source term. So, let us consider that. Let us consider a 1D system with no source term, and if you discretize this, or after discretization, this will be looking like AC phi c plus AE phi E plus AW phi W equals to 0. So, one can see that straight away from this particular equation, or this particular equation from here. Once we said one dimensional system, that means there is no north and south. So, these actually goes off, no source term BC goes off. So, it gets you back these 3 terms in the system. So, where rest of the things will be AC is essentially AE is minus gamma E dE, AW is minus gamma W dW, and AC is minus AE plus AW. So, it follows all the standard equation system that we have derived so far. So, there is no variation to that. Once you write that equation, you do not have any source term. So, there is no source term, which means in the absence of the source term, or you can think about sink term. So, in absence of that sink term, the transfer of phi occurs due to one process only. So, the phi is governed by diffusion only. So, due to non availability of source or sink term, the phi variation or the transfer of the transportation of phi is primarily governed by diffusion equation, which is essentially the Fourier law. Fourier's law, or rather elliptical system or elliptical equation. So, the diffusion system is governed by the Fourier's law in the direction of decreasing phi. So, the point here is that there is no source term in the system. So, phi is governed by only diffusion, and the value of phi E or phi W, they must lie between phi C and or phi E, or phi C and phi W. So, since it is a pure diffusion process without having any source term, the surface variables would be lying between these two centroid values. Okay. But this variation is happening, or this variation is sort of guaranteed if we assume linear variation or linear profile, or rather variation. Okay. Now, that is what has been approximated, or this is what it is assumed, and we can guarantee that. So, once we look at a one dimensional system, it does guarantee that all these surface values must be lying between the centroid values in this one dimensional direction. So, what we mean to say, these are my cells, this is C, this is E, this is W, this is my phi W, this is at phi E. So, all these values will lie between these centered values. But now, for example, if we assume higher order profile, let us say second order profile or variation, if we assume that. what would that happen? So, some sort of an parabolic profile. So, second order profile if you assume, which is sort of a, for example, parabolic in nature, parabolic in nature. Once you assume some higher order profile, what that can do is that these surface values small phi e or small phi w, this phi e or phi w, these is possibly can be higher or lower than phi c, phi e or phi w, which is absolutely possible that because of the assumption of the higher order profiles. So, the higher order assumption can lead to that kind of situation where the surface variable can overshoot or can undershoot from the centroid variables, and this is possibly can happen due to absence of source term or sink term. Now, if this happens, so which is essentially a unphysical phenomena. Okay. So, this is not at all justifiable or unphysical phenomena. Now, this one can immediately see through that if you assume a second order parabolic profile, this can happen. Now, this is also equally true for higher order, like greater than second order, higher order greater than equals to second order, higher order profiles. So, if you do not have any source term and if you assume higher order variation or higher order profile variation, this can lead to the unphysical phenomena which is not physical in nature, neither it is acceptable. So, the point here is that if the discretization scheme if has to be used or if it is adopted, that has to guarantee the, so that means the discretization scheme guarantee the physical results. That means you cannot afford to get an unphysical results which is possibly happen if you assume higher order profile in this particular case. Now, top of that, this information or the importance of this profile variation which is a linear for this particular discretization will become less important as we keep on refining our mesh size. That means, as your grid spacing is getting reduced, so that the distance between these centroid, these are getting reduced, then those linear variation will not make any significant impact on the results, and that is why in calculations we must do grid independent study and we should carry out some grid refinement, and particularly certain problems of interest, the refinement near to the boundary, near to particular places become quite important. So, that is why this is one of the. Now, further in the absence of any source term, in the absence of any source term, the multidimensional heat conduction equation, the multidimensional equation reduced to the equation reduced to this equation, delta dot gamma phi equals to 0. So, this implies that phi, and that implies straightway one important property, phi or phi plus some constant are the solution of these particular Gauni equations. Since this is an elliptical system, the solution of this equation would be same whether it is a phi or it is a phi plus any constant. A constant discretization method should reflect this property, or rather the important property of a consistent discretization method must depict this property, which is one of the characteristics of a solution to a elliptical PDEs. So, this is very important, and what this happens once the discretization method has to reflect this property, this discretized equation must satisfy the following criteria. What is that? It should have AC phi c plus summation of f NBC capital F phi f equals to 0, or AC phi c plus some C1 constant plus summation of f NBC phi f f phi f plus C1 must be 0. So, that means where C1 is any arbitrary constant, okay, which will lead to essentially AC plus f NBC AF phi f have AF equals to 0. So, this has to be satisfied by the consistent discretized equation. So, this is valid, one has to note that this is only valid, please note this is valid for the system without source or sink term. So, this is very important, that without that this is valid. Valid for system without or with or without source and sink term. So, this if I rewrite, this can be rewritten as AC equals to minus summation F NBC equals to AF, or one can write these things as F NBC AF divided by AC equals to minus 1. So, which means one can see this particular equation tells a very important criteria, that phi c is the weighted sum of its neighbor, essentially which tells that phi c can be seen as weighted sum of its neighbors. Okay. And in absence of any source term, it is always be bounded by the neighboring values. Okay. So, this important equation, which clearly one can infer that phi c must be looking at as a weighted average or sum of its neighboring elements, and it remains always bounded by the neighboring values like phi f. So, whether it is east or west, so they actually. Now, if a source term is present, so we got a very nice criteria for in the absence of source or string term, but if there is a source term which is present there in the system, that means where SC phi not equals to 0. So, then phi c does not need to be bounded in this fashion. Okay. And it can over or undershoot the neighboring values. So, now one can immediately ask that when I have a source term, so phi c does not need to be bounded in a particular fashion. Fashion is that in this particular fashion. So, repeatedly this is mentioned that, or I am reiterating the fact that this is only true when there is no source or string term. Okay. Now, phi c, if there is a source term, then this need not to be bounded through that particular equation. At the same time, the phi c could overshoot or undershoot from his neighboring values. Now, one may immediately think that is this physical, but when there is a source or string term, this is absolutely physical phenomena. So, this is possible. Okay. So, which gets you an important message that when you have this assumption of the linear profiles, it comes with certain restriction, but if you keep on refining your grid, this does not have significant impact on the results. Now, at the same time, if someone uses higher order profile, then one has to be careful whether the system has any source or string term. If the system does not have any source or string term, then the higher order assumption can overshoot the values at the faces, which is unphysical, as we have seen, and the values should be satisfied with this kind of criteria. Now, this criteria is also valid for the situation or the equation system where you have the or one has source or symptom, but in that case things can overshoot, and which is perfectly fine. Now, having said that, one more important thing to note here is that coefficients, the sign of AC and AF, if you look at, they are in opposite nature. So, this is also physical. Why? Because this has a complete physical meaning, because the value of phi A, the value of phi A can increase or decrease, or the rather if phi f is increasing, then which will lead to phi c to increase. If phi f is decreasing, then this also do in the other way around. Okay. So, this has a physical meaning that the signs, opposite signs are of physical nature. This also other way one can think about, this has to do with the boundedness of the nature. So, the boundedness is actually doing that thing. If one goes down, other goes up, in one goes up, other one goes down, and that has a complete physical significance. So, one can think that this particular property comes inherently as a part of your discretized equation, one discretized equation. One need not to forcefully enforce these particular properties. Okay. So, these are some important systems that one can. Now, once you get that discretized system, if you just go back, this particular system, your AC and AF. So, this is my system, AC phi c summation of AF NBC phi f AF equals to BC. That is my discretized equation system. Now, once you get that discretized equation system, you can always find out the coefficients, but you need to impose boundary condition, and this equation is only valid for any interior elements, it is not true for any boundary elements. So, the boundary elements needs to be treated separately. Now, boundary conditions could be of different type, and we can see how the boundary elements are imposed now on the system. So, you can think about that you have this particular, let us say, system, you get this, you get these elements, okay, and this is your C, this is your S, this is your southwest, west, northwest, north, and this line is my boundary line. Okay. So, you have this flux going this way, and then here is a point, boundary point, where this would be SB. Okay. So, you can think about this side is your boundary side, and now if you have that, so this distance would be a distance of delta x small b, and rest remains same as per our notation. Now, for the boundary also, what we need to do? We need to put the same system of equation. This is our equation system equals to QC BC. So, that is still, this is my governing equation, this must be valid, but the one which we got here, this is only valid. So, there is a difference. What we are starting that this is valid with any interior element. Why? Because this requires some surrounding elements, and that is where the validity comes from. But when we start from here, then we will get the equation system from at that particular boundary, where you say that my JB, if you apply this equation at boundary B, then this would be JB dot SB equals to flux TB, which will be minus gamma B delta phi B dot SB, which is nothing but flux CB, flux C plus flux BB. Now, the specification of boundary condition will be different. So, number 1, it could be Dirichlet condition. So, which means you have specified phi equals to phi B is phi specified. So, at this phase I am saying that phi B equals to specified, that means this is known. So, this is my Dirichlet condition or constant boundary condition. So, once I say that at that phase phi B is known, then I can use that condition and write my total flux. At B, my flux TB is minus gamma B del phi B dot SB, which is going to be my minus gamma B SB divided by d CB phi B minus phi C. So, that is equivalent to flux CB phi C plus flux BB, which will get you, which implies that flux CB equals to gamma B dB, let us say small a b, and flux VB equals to minus gamma B dB and phi B, which is minus AB phi B, where your dB is defined as SB by DCB. Okay. So, if you look at this particular element shown here in this particular figure, the coefficients at east face, that is AE, which is essentially 0, and the discretized equation would yield like AC phi C plus AW phi W plus AN phi N plus AS phi S equals to BC. So, if you compare with your this equation, the complete equation which you got, this is my complete equation for any interior element, where you have AC phi C, AE phi E, AW phi E, AN phi N, AS. So, that means in one interior cell has all these east, south, west, north element. So, that is the governing equation. Now, in this particular case, distillate boundary condition, it boils down to a different equation. Why? This particular cell and this particular face, this is essentially east, theoretically east face, and the east face is exposed to the given boundary condition, and other elements like north, west or south, they are there as it is. So, your east coefficient goes up and you get back this system, where essentially if you write it down, AW phi W plus AN phi N plus AS phi S equals to BC, where your AE is 0, AW equals to flux FW equals to minus gamma W dW. Similarly, AN equals to flux Fn, which is minus gamma n dN. AS is flux Fs, which is gamma S ds, and AC equals to flux Cb plus small f goes from all the faces, flux Cf, which is nothing but flux Cb plus flux Cw plus flux Cn plus flux Cs. So, that is what you get, and the Bc is the source term, which is Qc Bc minus flux Vb plus summation of Nbc and flux Vf. So, this is what you get for the given distillate condition. So, one can note few comments. So, some important comments or observation. Number 1, is that the coefficient AB is larger than other neighbor coefficients, because B is closer to C and consequently has more influence on phi C. Okay. So, second is the coefficient AC is still the sum of all neighboring elements or neighboring coefficients including AB. This means important criteria means for the boundary element, this F, which is the criteria mod of AF divided by mod of AC less than 1, gives the second necessary condition to satisfy Scarborough criteria. So, this is second observation. Okay. And the third one would be, so this criteria, the Scarborough criteria would be achieved through the iteration, and the third one is that the product AB phi B, which is the product essentially equivalent to your flux VB, is now on the right hand side of the equation, is on the right hand side of the equation and part of BC. And the reason is that because it now contains no unknowns. Okay. So, there are three very important observations one can make out of this Dirichlet boundary condition implementation. So, this is my system that I obtain and these are my coefficients. So, one of the important observation is that AB is larger than the other neighboring coefficients, because B is closer to C. So, it will have more impact on the element C. Then the Scarborough criteria is also satisfied through iteration, and the third one is that now the product AB phi B, which is flux VB, is sitting on the right hand side of the equation because it is no more unknown, all the terms has known values. So, this is where how one can treat the specified boundary condition. So, we will look at the other boundary conditions in the subsequent lectures. Thank you.